Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining me for this release of our TandemVu solutions. My name is Darren Riddell and I'm one of the Hikvision BDMs, and I'm going to provide you some information relating to this launch today. But firstly, I'm going to give you the running order. We're going to take you through the launch and then hand you over to my colleague Dan Hawkins for a live demonstration before we ask you for some feedback via Mentimeter. So we're going to ask you later on to log on to menti.com. This will then be rounded off by our prize draw, and we'll be giving away 6 cameras. There's 1 TandemVu and there's 5 network turrets. Throughout the session today, if you have any questions at all, please send them into answers.uk@hikvision.com. The email address is being monitored by our product specialists from right now. So please send in anything specific that we can help with. Do bear with us because it can take a little time to turn those answers around, but you'll receive a response as soon as is possible and certainly within 24 hours. So today we're going to be showing you some of the future of pan, tilt and zoom PTZs, cameras and technology. So you're all very well versed in the restrictions of using conventional static cameras and the monitoring of a scene. You can lose sight of anything outside of that camera's field of view. And similarly, the use of PTZ that's either not operated, or sod's law will be it's facing the wrong way when something happens, or you can't track sufficiently due to a possible narrow field of view being used. So what happens in the real world to solve these problems? So you tend to install a static camera with a PTZ nearby, but with that comes new problems. You either have inflated costs for 2 cameras being required, twice the cabling and additional network ports. You can have a complex installation requiring more time on implementation, or you can have difficult linkages where you're programming a cause and effect across multiple devices. So how can we solve those pain points? So we've designed and now releasing this new generation of PTZ cameras which can help improve those eventualities. These are the Hikvision TandemVu PTZ cameras. The TandemVu technology features Hikvision's next generation camera design. It integrates a fixed lens and a PTZ lens into one camera to provide the big picture and small details in tandem. Equipped with this technology, our new TandemVu keeps the original wide view even during pan, tilt and zoom maneuvers. Users will see everything and miss nothing at any given instant, getting great situational awareness from the moment you set the camera up. The field of view is far greater, so you don't miss the whole scene like when you move a PTZ camera. There are 2 types, as you can see here, with differing features, and I'll go through those in the next few moments. So why is TandemVu the next generation of PTZ? Because compared with traditional solutions, the TandemVu has 3 core advantages. It's easy to know, easy to install, and easy to use. It has a 2-in-1 design, extraordinary imaging, and flow-through intelligence. So let's see what you get in this short clip. As you can see here, we have the DS2SE7 series camera, and I'll get to those exact part numbers later on. The static camera, the bullet, is covering the whole scene, watching that roadway and that pedestrian crossing, whilst an operator can take manual control and start to look at an area of interest at the far end of the scene with its 32 times zoom. So the benefit is you don't lose the overall view and miss anything. So you've just seen there what the camera can do, but what other advantages are there? There's time saving for installation, less cable runs, and using only 1 network port. You're not needing multiple ports on a network switch. And you can calibrate the 2 cameras working together. There's only 1 IP address to manage TandemVu. The one IP address manages both the wide view fixed lens and the PTZ. So whether that's logging in through a web browser, adding it to the NVR, or Hike Central, it needs to be added once. Because of this, if you're using Hike Central, then only one camera license is required. However, when you're installing onto an NVR, it does take 2 channels. So we just mentioned the benefits of the 2-in-1 design, but let's talk about the biggest upgrade. With this one, the DS2SF8 series, it's in the progress in monitoring mode and the higher quality images, and that greatly improves the user experience. Specifically speaking, it's about getting the big picture and the details in one view. More vivid, more detailed, and the super wide view without distortion. So the field of view from these 2 static cameras at the top of this device gives a 180-degree panoramic view. Low light technology, and it stitches together those 2 images as one. The 2 fixed lenses have our color view technology, 24/7 color images with that wide aperture. The PTZ element uses our dark fighter technology and supports up to 42 times zoom. The PTZ is also the part of the device which supports the VCAs, not the fixed lens. There's a feature within the camera that allows you to highlight an area in that panoramic image to call the PTZ to that position. We call that 3D positioning, and Dan's going to show you that shortly. So they say a picture paints 1,000 words. So you're able to see here that super wide view. On this intersection, you can quite clearly see left, right, and straight ahead. So we have target classification within that first device, the DS2SE7. That was the white one, the 7-inch model. And that includes our industry-leading AI algorithms. So this TandemVu camera accurately focuses on targets and events that are significant to them. In other words, they vastly reduce the number of false alarms and therefore workload for security personnel. It improves efficiency all around, including subsequent investigations and searches. So that 7-inch TandemVu is the best choice for customers who require some intelligent functionality. It brings smart security to the whole process. In order to achieve this, we've applied 4 key technologies. These are target classification, smart linkage, live guard, and that intelligent analysis. So let's go through those. So the first is target classification. So once a target's accurately detected, we need to track them. The target is often moving, and it's easy to move outside the monitoring area of the camera, so we need to actively track it. So there's 3 main linkage modes. There's manual tracking, and that's the main mode and has the highest priority when you've selected that. There's linkage tracking, and this is where you create that VCA and the PTZ will follow a target, and we're going to see that in a few moments. And there's also takeover tracking, where the target will still be followed by a PTZ even if the bullet can no longer see it in the field of view. So the second element was smart linkage. So that's linkage tracking, for example. It occurs when a target appears in that monitored area of the bullet lens. It will automatically link the PTZ to track the target. So as you can see in that video in the bottom left corner there, this chap comes onto site via those gates and he's tracked as he crosses that roadway. The third element is live guard. As you will see here, the person approaches that perimeter and is detected, causing an alert to activate. Here we're going to just activate the strobe. So we're quite often asked, can the audio be customized? So there's 3 built-in audio warnings for different scenarios, and you can even record your own voice to either ward off someone or broadcast some useful information. This audio can be heard up to 30 metres away, along with that strobe light having the same effect at 30 metres. So that gives you a summing up of the product so far. I'm now going to hand you over to my colleague Dan Hawkins, who's going to give you a live demonstration of exactly what this camera can do, or these cameras can do. So remember, if you have any questions about what we've been talking about so far, then please send those in to answers.uk@hikvision.com. So I'm now going to hand you over to Dan Hawkins.
Thank you, Darren, for that great presentation. My name is Dan Hawkins, part of the internal projects team here at Hikvision. Just to explain what I'm going to go and show you today, I have two cameras down in our car park. One is the DS2SE7 series camera and one DS2SF8 series camera, as described by Darren in his presentation. These are looking across our car park here at Stockley Park. My colleagues Dave Lewis and Andy Zong will be in the car park to suspiciously run around and trigger those alarms for us. So I'll move over to Hike Central, which I've just got to unlock quickly. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus and verification code YN. So as you can see, we've got those. Here I'll be showing you the 3D positioning. 3D positioning enables us to pinpoint the PTZ to a location within a wider field of view, as if I'm telling the PTZ where to look from another camera. So if I enable PTZ within the Hike Central live view window, I now have the ability to move the mouse around within the panoramic view window. A simple click will make the PTZ move around to where you want to see within the panoramic view. If I click and hold the mouse to draw a box from left to right, the image will zoom in to that location. If I go from bottom right to top left, then the camera will zoom out. Next, we have our smart tracking based on the VCAs that are in the PTZ. This PTZ has line crossing enabled, with the line set across the white wall at the back of the car park from top to bottom. Once it zooms into there, Andy should make his way across that particular area, and then the PTZ will take hold of Andy, prioritize him as the subject, and it will track him through the car park. Andy, can you move into position? So now that Andy's crossed that trigger line, it's picked him up and we'll start to track him walking over towards our end of the car park. So that's the panoramic camera in action and the PTZ in action. Gives us this great big overview while maintaining the focus of the PTZ. As you can see, still tracking Andy. Next, we'll move on to the other TandemVu camera that we have, the DS2SE7. So this camera, as Darren has shown you, has the built-in camera on top and the PTZ below. In this instance, I've got the PTZ on the left and the bullet camera is on the right. Here, the analytics are in the bullet camera. So we have the line crossing set up around the middle of the image. As Andy's crossing that line, he's going to set the PTZ off. So we have the line crossing set up around this area in the car park. And when either Dave or Andy finally gets to that position and crosses that trigger line, the camera will begin to track him. I'm not sure if Andy knows where he's going today. But what it's key to notice is, here is that as Andy's moving around, we can still see what's going on with the fixed bullet camera on the right hand side. So even if I take control with the PTZ, Andy's still moving around in the PTZ image. But the fixed image, if I move it over to here, there we go. So the PTZ has now moved over to this side. We can still see what's going over here. But if we look in the distance, we've not lost footage of what Andy's doing out in the background over there. So Dave's turned up, he's looking through this box. I can still track him and see what's going on down here. But with the fixed lens, we can still see what's going on with Andy in the background. This means that we still have visibility. Lastly, we have an audio and visual alert to the live guard setting for the PTZ camera. To show you this, I can set the lights to trigger manually using a preset through Hike Central. So if I just change the view quickly to light demonstration, you can see the lights are going automatically already. But if I switch them over, once that stops, the PTZ channel, we've got the preset set in there. If I click the call button for that preset for preset 47, then our lights should start going. That's preset 47 is that one. Hit the call button, now our lights start flashing. That's given us a visual alert that somebody has been seen. We also have the ability to do an audible demonstration by the Panaromamic camera. So we've got the wide angle lens again there. If I activate the microphone, talk through the microphone and ask Dave to give us a little dance, he should particularly appear. There he is, right in front of the screen. So Dave's walked around, he's given us a wave. That shows that we've given an audible alert to David, who's now in the car park. Thank you very much, David. It's key to note here that the alarms don't need to be triggered manually. There are any number of VCAs that can trigger the lights or audible alarms, or both, to come on. The audio can even be pre-recorded. So that concludes my demonstration. Thank you to Dave and Andy for your product support and looking suspicious. Thank you to the back of house team for the video support. Darren's going to take back over now and present you with the Menti.com survey and the prize draw. Thanks again.
Dan, that's been very informative. I'm sure you've given you some ideas of what you can use and do with these cameras. Before we do the Menti.com and the prize draw, I'm just going to give you some of the specifics of the camera. So we've already introduced the 2-in-1 design, that extraordinary imaging, and all of the inclusive intelligent functions. So we're currently launching 2 TandemVu models, the DS2SE7 series, that's the 7-inch white model, and we've got the DS2SF8 series, that's the 8-inch model, the grey looking device. So I'm not going to read all of the items because you can see them here, but the main highlights is that the 7-inch TandemVu, the bullet part is 4mm lens. It's got 4 megapixel resolution and includes that colour view and AcuSense technology. The PTZ part is also 4 megapixels and up to 32 times optical zoom. And as you saw, it's got those strobe lights and speakers and all of those tracking and AI features. So moving on to the grey one, the SF8. So that's the 8-inch model. It's got 2 4mm, 4 megapixel bullets. And that's what's supporting that 180-degree panoramic view. And again, it has the colour view technology. The PTZ is also 4 megapixels and up to 42 times optical zoom. And as you saw, the strobe light, speaker, wipers, the zoom features, they're all initiated or can be initiated from that panoramic view. The bullet lens is also adjustable. It has a tilt feature, so it can be moved between 7 and 17 degrees within that housing. So that's the cameras, but what does a whole solution look like? What kind of NVR or software do we use? So the most commonly used solution is the I-Series NVRs. And then as you saw, that we can be connected back to Hike Central Professional Platform for video and system management. So I trust that gives you some ideas of what's possible and what you'll be able to consider for some of your problems and end user solutions. So if you do need any further help, then by all means, contact your distribution partner or your local BDM. So that concludes our presentation for today. I just want to remind you of the fact that we have our Insight events coming up during March all around the country. You would have already seen the flyer for a registration, but I'd urge you to take a look at our website if you haven't seen that already and come and meet us in person throughout March. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good day.